Twinkle, twinkle, little star.
He's alive!
Welcome to where the weird ones are.
Every time I speak, I want the truth to come out.
Powerful figures in Hollywood as well as powerful politicians who are in fact not human. They're reptiles or they're lizards or perhaps extraterrestrials.
I don't think it is a human. I think it's a Sasquatch.
Go ahead and run. Run home and cry to mama.
Let's get weird.
What's up, you fucking weirdos? Welcome to another episode of Where the Weird Ones Are. My name is Kevin, but you probably already knew that, and if you didn't, now you do. Today's episode is with Miss Humbly Awake, or should I say Mrs. She is a happily married Christian woman, people. Very intelligent, really enjoyed this conversation. I wish it was longer. We could have got into some other stuff, but she will be back and we'll get into some more stuff. We talk about how weird fucking Hollywood is, that's for sure. You know, people idolizing these false gods and whatnot. But you know, it is what it is. These people that you look up to in Hollywood and stuff aren't as special as you think they are. So, you know, we get into that a little bit. But she's a conspiracy realist, entrepreneur, helping critical thinkers identify inverted celebrities. She also teaches biblical truths and skeletal structures. She is super intelligent. Yeah, no, so I really enjoyed talking to her. So if you listen to the show for like the paranormal experiences and stuff, this is not one of those episodes. This is more of a conspiracy episode. So before I mean, just by her introduction, I feel like you should know that, but yeah, so it's different than most. It's more along the lines of the Conspiracy Tuesday stuff. So if it's not your bag, baby, don't pick it up. But anyways, I really hope you do enjoy this episode. I'm so happy that you're here. If you're struggling with mental health at all, the calling 988 will definitely help you out. That's the suicide prevention. And I just want you to know that, you know, God looked upon the earth and knew that it needed one of you. And I'm so happy that you're here. I'm so happy that you're here with me. And I'm happy that, you know, we share this earth together, that we share this timeline together, because you deserve to be here, regardless of what you think. And I know that once you're in the storm, it just seems like it's never going to end. But I promise you, the storm shall pass. Sometimes it just takes a little time. So, but anyways, please like, follow, share, subscribe, leave a rating and review. I'd greatly appreciate it. Encounter Quest is coming up. It's April 13th. So if you're in the Hamlet, North Carolina area, I'd love to see you down there. Hit up encounterquest.com for tickets. And those tickets are for the speakers. Those aren't for the just to get in. The vendor floor is free. It's just if you want to go into the auditorium to listen to the speakers, you gotta pay a ton of fee for the ticket. But yeah, I think that's it. Other than 40 and Fest, that's coming up in June. I think that's all I got going on. So, and I'm also gonna start doing some paranormal investigative stuff. I think, for sure. I got this camera and the spirit box and everything, and haven't done shit with it. So, definitely gonna go hang out with Phil again here pretty soon. So I was supposed to do it a couple weeks ago, but it rained that day, so we didn't want to be outside. But anyways, I hope you enjoy this show. Please show Humbly some love. She's a wonderful lady. Definitely gonna have her back, and yeah, you can find her on Instagram as Humbly Awake, Humbly underscore Awake underscore, I believe is the tag. So yeah, I came across one of her videos and I listened and I was captivated and I was just like, wow, this woman's smart. So I reached out to her to come talk about some of the stuff that she talks about on her page. So again, I hope you enjoy. So without further ado, let's get into it.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
Let's get weird. Let's get weird. Let's get weird. Let's get weird. Weird. Get weird.
What's up, party people? I have Miss Humbly Awake with me today. We should get into some good stuff about Hollywood because they're fucking weird over there.
Yes.
But I came across her videos on Instagram, and something compelled me to invite her on, and so I did, and she's here. So if you don't mind letting everybody know what you're all about and where they can find you.
Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you for inviting me to come talk. I, any chance that I get to talk about conspiracies, I'm all about. But so I'm on Instagram at humbly underscore awake underscore. And basically, the things that I talk about are how everybody is inverted in Hollywood. And I teach people how to read specific skeletal structures, which is like the actual bone structure of somebody, not the way that they're shaped. It's very interesting.
It is interesting. All your videos are pretty captivating, if I may say so. I enjoy watching them, and I saw one. I can't. You were talking about bone structure, and I was like, oh, that's interesting because there's a lot of women because there's certain ways that the bone structure of men and women are made up, and there's a lot of women out here that are in the spotlight that kind of are a little bit more manly, and that's basically what you shine a light on too. So
Right. And not only that, but I go into like the why behind it. So it's like a lot of people will say, who cares about, what this is? Like, this doesn't matter, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm like, okay, well, the first thing that you have to understand is the occult religion and what they believe. And then once you understand everything behind that, behind like MK Ultra, mind programming, handling child trafficking, like all of that stuff, then you understand the reasons why they are doing what they're doing, and it makes a little bit more sense.
yes, yes, and that's one thing that I care the most about is the child sex trafficking because the children is what bothers me the most. Like they can do whatever the hell they want really, but when they involve hurting people, especially children, that's when like I get irritated.
Right.
um, Especially being a father,
Yeah.
So I mean,
Yeah.
even if I wasn't a father, it would still bother the shit out of me.
Yeah.
Um,
That, I mean,
so
I don't know if you're a believer, but scripture is like very clear about how, God feels about children and
mhm.
innocent blood. So yeah, it's really bad. They're going to get what they deserve, but
I hope the fuck so.
yes.
Um, I will say that I'm not religious, but I think I'm starting to become
Oh,
religious.
really?
Like
Yeah.
with everybody that I've been talking to, because I know you're friends with Jillian Stone,
Oh, yes.
um, and you were just, I think you either are going to record or you already did with Cryptid Warfare with Drew and Zook.
He is this Saturday, I believe. I've chatted with Zook before on like how to start a podcast and stuff, and he was really cool. But our
Yeah.
podcast is on Saturday, and I'm really good friends with Jillian as well. She's awesome.
Yeah, Jillian's sweet. I'm trying to get her on for a second time,
Yeah.
but I don't talk to I haven't messaged her again like because we were gonna do something on the 12th, and she's like, let me check my calendar. Then I didn't hear from her, and I didn't like reach out
Yeah.
to be like, hey, what about this date? But eventually I will, and because she's such a sweet person, and I really enjoyed speaking to her. So knowledgeable, and she just like I think it was like a couple weeks ago she was talking about how like all these older people because they like put her down because she's so I think she's like 26 or
No,
something like that or 28.
no, she's like, I think she's like 21
Oh my God.
or 23. Jillian, I can't remember how old you are, but it's like early 20s. She's not above 23.
Okay. All
I'm
right.
28, and I remember thinking, what? Like, how are you this knowledgeable? Because she really is.
Yeah,
Like, she's
she
very
is.
knowledgeable. Well, because she has the Holy Spirit, she can discern truth. That's
Mm-hmm.
why she's like that. But I know she just was in the middle of a move, so I'm sure that she's busy. She'll, when she can reach out to people, I'm sure she will. She's
Yeah,
always
yeah.
to me.
Yeah, I don't take it personally anyway, so it's
Yeah.
it's all good. It'll happen if it's meant to, you know what I mean? That's how I feel about things.
Yes.
Um, but let's dive into the bone structure and the body makeup of all these people down in Hollywood that seem to like be trying to hide something, even though like it's not a big deal. Like, because I will say, like I've always the conspiracy around Michelle Obama being a man, like I'm always and Obama Barack being gay. Like I've always been like, why would you hide it? Like, who cares if you're gay, man? Just be gay. Like that's so like it's been like really interesting why they're trying to hide it. So
Well, think about this. When they're trying to change the narrative on something, do you think if they automatically just like put something so shocking into the world that it would be widely accepted, or do you think they have to like trickle it out a little bit, little by little, and normalize it first so that
yeah.
because it's like they're doing it with their kids. Like think about Angelina Jolie, think about Charlize Theron, think about like Madonna, like think about all these people or Chaz Bono with Cher. Like think about all these people who are transitioning, and it's like it's just coming out a little bit. I think to think about how people will react, and as this
Hmm.
trans movement is being pushed and more widely accepted, I think that YouTubers have come out like what was that one YouTuber, Nikki Tutorials, like these people are coming out and they're like, what? We had no idea. Well, if you knew how to read skeletal structures, you would have had an idea. But yeah, it's just like, it's interesting. And I think the more time goes on, I think the more people will be more open about that. But
Hmm.
I think it's a slow process. I think if they just came out, then I don't think the world would know what to do. You-
Right.
they got to warm people up.
Yeah. I like so I think Megan Fox is like when started listening to your videos and stuff and like the way you're describing it and stuff and then I was like literally because for some reason Facebook and Instagram thinks that I want to look at fucking pictures of Megan Fox and Machine Gun Kelly. I don't want to fucking look at that shit, but they want me to look at it. And then the same thing with Taylor Swift, which there's a whole nother thing with her. Um, but like I think Megan Fox might be a dude.
Well, you know how they like tell us the truth? Megan
Yeah.
Fox said like I'm a tranny, but said it in like a joking way. So it's like uh so Megan was like, "Yeah, I'm a dude. I'm a tranny." And it's just like why would you say that? And like Miley Cyrus has been I posted something the other day that Miley Cyrus is like, I'm like any other drag queen or something like that. I like tuck and have red lipstick. And I was like, why would you say
Well,
that if there's not like truth like behind it? Like uh,
yeah.
they like to hide stuff in plain sight, like truth, because it sounds off the wall if you sound like you're joking. Like I'm a man, like that
Yeah.
sounds a joke, but I don't think it's a joke.
No, it's not. It's fucking weird.
Yeah.
So what are the telltale signs for these people, like when you're looking at them?
So this is disclaimer. People try to send me pictures of like children or their neighbor and stuff, and I'm like, don't send me that. One, I'm
Yeah,
not
no.
gonna look at a child. Like that's weird.
Hmm.
Two, your neighbor down the street, like they're not in the occult religion, probably. I'm only talking about adult celebrities in Hollywood. But the way that I was able to tell, and you have to train your eye, because when I first heard somebody talking about this and they were like, everybody in celebrity is like a man, and I was like, what? And so they would post these pictures, but I didn't know what I was looking at. And I was like, they look kind of manly, but how could you tell? And I didn't know what I was looking at. So I started following a page called Bright Green Barbie. And Bright Green Barbie, I think that page is Lisa and Linda. Maybe that's not the page they share. I know Lisa George runs that page, and I think Linda may be on that. But, anyways, they basically show you the skeletal structures of what you are actually specifically looking at. One marker doesn't mean anything, but it's oddly suspicious when somebody has like 20 of the opposite markers. It's like, okay, how many markers can somebody have before it's like, that's a little bit suspicious. So what I did is I think I was at an amusement park one time, and I was like, this was after I had been looking at skeletal structures on their page. And I was like, you know what? That's actually kind of accurate. Like women are shaped like peplum tops and men look like upside down pizzas. And I was like, regardless of the body shape, because I would see like women that were a little bit like top heavy, and I'm thinking, but the structure of the bones were still the same. In male and female. And you know, those people, if you're at the mall or something and you're like, I don't know what that is. Like, I don't know if it's a guy or a girl. Like, look at the bone structures and you can tell. So one thing that I look for in females are the skull shape. So I can even just look at yours and mine right now. Do you see how mine is shaped like, it almost looks like an alien shape? It's like round up here and then it goes to a point, or like an egg or something. Like
Yep.
it's like rounded right here. Men's typically go like a square like this, and it's symmetrical with the bottom half of their face. Women's is usually not symmetrical. So I look at the skull shape first. Then I look at the eyes, because women's, I don't know if you've seen that feature on like photo booth, but you know when you can like squeeze somebody's face in and it like scrunches together? Women's faces are more like that. They're like scrunched in together. Like this part is just like more inward. All the facial features right here, it goes more inward. Males, the little feature on photo booth when you stretch their face apart, that's typically what males look like. Like their features are stretched out more horizontally, including their eyes, their dental arch, which is how rounded this is. Males typically are more stretched out. Women's are more like narrow. I look at the brow ridge. Men typically have a protruding bone right here, and women's don't really have that. Males typically have eye sockets that are really deep within the face. They're like, this part is more shallow, whereas women's are more forward. What else? That's what I look for on the skull.
Mm-hmm.
Then if I'm like, okay, that's like a kind of like a feminine looking skull, like the facial features and stuff are like more feminine, then I move on to the body. And so in the body, what people typically look at, and I feel like they base it off this alone, which is not accurate, are the collarbone. Women's typically go into this V shape, whereas men's typically go straight across. And people are like, oh, that person has a V-shaped clavicle there, or what? And it's like, no, you have to like take into consideration everything, because somebody could have broken their collarbone, or you know what I'm saying? There's so many things that could have happened. So I look at the skull in combination with the collarbone, and then I start going down. There are differences in male and female bone structures. Women typically have like shorter limbs, whereas it kind of looks like, I don't know. They're just like T-Rexy is probably the way that I can explain it. It's like T-Rex arms. Like women have
Yeah.
T-Rex arms, and then men kind of look like monkeys. Like they're long and they're just like longer bones. And then obviously hands. Like my hands are like little puny hands. Like men typically have bigger hands. And I mean, even when you look at openly transgender people that are male to female, it's very easy to spot because they still have these bone structures, even
Yeah.
though the outside of them has a beard, even though the outside of them has muscles. It's not about that. It's about the way that their body's shaped. Um, Females typically, I look at the shoulders and the hip ratio. Typically, this part of somebody's shoulders,
Yep.
men extend out more past the hip bone, and women's are wider, like wider than this, because they have to push a baby out their hip. Like it doesn't
Yeah.
matter. Like that's just a biological fact. Like there are differences in our hips. Um, what's another? Oh, leg bones, same thing. Typically males have like longer femur bones and stuff like that. And I just look at all of this in combination with everything. And then if I look at the spouse and the spouse has all of the opposite markers too, I'm like, okay, this is probably like an inverted couple. Um, and I think even looking at openly transgender people, if you study the bone structures, you look at openly trans people and you're like, okay, this is what it looks like on the opposite outward appearance. And then you take it to Hollywood and you're like, whoa, I can see it now. But it's not just like you can be like, oh, somebody has a straight across clavicle, they're trans. Like you have to look, it's like a process. You have to study it.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, it's really weird. It's like I said earlier, it's weird that they would hide it. But when you put it in the occult aspect, like, there's reasons for it, and I'm not 100% privy to those reasons. And I was wondering, like, what is the purpose of hiding the fact that they're trans? Because, like, don't get me wrong, like, I don't have any problem with that community. If that's the way they want to live their lives, so be it. But, like, again, when it comes to children, leave them the fuck alone. That's where I stand with that, and that's the hill that I'm gonna die on forever.
Right.
But yeah, so what would you say would be like the reason that they would want to hide it?
So, what I was saying earlier about like prepping society, because this has been happening for
Oh
like
yeah, yeah.
thousands of years. Like the royals have been doing this for hundreds of years. And if you know scripture, people have been castrating themselves and worshiping like little g gods and deities for literally thousands of years. They used to have
Yeah.
festivals in the old days. Jillian talks about this, where they, castrate the men and go out and like worship like all of this perversion of like gender and sex and identity and stuff like that. This has been happening for thousands of years, but secret societies and royals have been operating in the way that they live in secret or whatever for literally hundreds of years. Royals, like you look at I'm trying to think, like Princess Stephanie or something. You look at Barbara Bush, like you look at these people that have like the opposite skeletal structures, and you're like, holy crap, because they didn't have the procedures back then to like, do hormones and stuff. And you're like, ooh, that's like very obvious. Like,
Yeah.
there's no way people believed that back then, but they did. So society has usually been more conservative, right? Like more conservative. And then as we have progressed as a society, I wouldn't even say progressed, as we've gone on as a society, the blurred lines of confusion have been more pushed. Because I feel like before they start like openly doing stuff, because in scripture it says that we will get back to like the days of Noah, where it's chaos, where they're perverting everything that God made. And I think we're starting to see that now. I think that eventually it will come out that, what their religion is, stuff like that, it's going to be accepted. And it talks about in scripture, good will be seen as evil and evil will be seen as good. So I think they're just setting the scene for that. And I think they're slowly coming out. But it's been going on for a while. I just don't think that they could like come out in the 50s and be like, I'm trans, like that. People
Yeah, that's true.
Like now they're setting the stage so that it's more widely accepted. Like this trans thing is like kind of a new movement. It's like very, I like I don't the people that are struggling with like gender dysmorphia and stuff like that. I don't like what you're saying. I don't hate them, anything like that. I think that they're struggling. I think that they're being deceived, and I think
Yeah,
that
yeah.
they need help, and it makes me really sad. And I don't think those people are in any way affiliated with Hollywood and their influence. I think that it's like two separate things. But I think that the agenda being pushed, they're accepting, and they're inadvertently like playing into this whole new reality or delusion that's being accepted in society. They're playing the part in that without knowing what they're doing.
Right, right. It's funny too because I see them saying like um they what's the frick is the word that they compare Satanism these days to Christianity about how uh Christians are just judgy and full of hate when they preach it, but they preach love and say and that a woman has to obey the husband and blah 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 blah. But Satanism is respect your woman and this and that and stuff like that, and they're basically trying to normalize Satanism over Christianity, and it's like, what the fuck is happening here? Because then you got like, what's her name, Maria Abramovich or whatever, with all the freaking celebrities and shit. And literally, it's weird because God says you shall idolize no false gods, or however the saying goes, right?
Right.
And you watch these people worship literally the ground that these celebrities walk on. They're basically like you're worshiping them like they're gods, and they are not. They are human just like you and I.
Right.
And it's the weirdest fucking thing to have put somebody up on such a high pedestal. Why? Because they can act good, or they can sing good, and they can play an instrument really well. Like, they're
Have you,
still at the end of the day a regular person like you and I. They just can do a certain thing better.
well, have you looked in to like the Nephilim and fallen angels and stuff? I saw that you said that you talk about like demons and stuff like that. Have you looked into anything in regards to that?
Well, like a crossroads demon or something, like where they sell their soul. That's how they get put up
Yeah.
on a pedestal or like
Yeah.
that. But like, as far as that goes, I haven't. But yeah, I've read the book of Enoch, and
Oh, you
I
have?
know, yeah.
Okay.
And that's probably the only scripture that I've read, to be honest with you. I'm not gonna lie. I've also read the Kabbalion.
Oh,
Um, and that one's a good book. I mean, because everything's vibration. The all is in all, and all, and the all is the all. You know what I mean? Um,
the book
but
of Enoch, it talks, so the fallen angels stars like there, so then about like casting spells, stuff like that. um it's really happening when they're saying these music and people are repeating the lyrics. Your words hold value, and so
right,
they're able to cast spells in that way. On the big screen, you're falling in love with these characters, and it's like you don't see them for what they are. Like, it's all by design, and it's because I think that they have demons manifesting in their life. I feel like demons and Nephilim and all that stuff, like I think that that has to do with what's happening in Hollywood.
mm,
um, it's just like all interconnected. It's so deep, and it's just like, I don't know, there's not many people that know about that to have I mean, Jillian knows, but uh,
right.
just finding like-minded people that get you so that you can even have the conversation is like very rare, you know?
Oh, for sure, for sure. Like, I start like in regular circles. Like, even I kind of started going down a rabbit hole today at work, and everybody, like, there was four of us in the room, and everybody's just like staring at me, and I'm just like, oh yeah, and then we were talking about um like skinwalkers and shit like that too. So like, and some of them were interested in like the paranormal ghostly like aspect of things, and then as soon as like you start talking about how the earth might be flat, or we didn't land on the moon and stuff like that. Like cuz I went into that and they were just like and then one of them walked away and then I was just like, all right, this is not my crowd. This is not my audience. I got to shut the fuck up.
Yeah, okay. My husband, we were on a cruise ship for the company that I am partnered with, and he did that. I read the room. I don't talk to people unless like they ask me about stuff like this. Like I don't think anybody would know. I mean, I talk about scripture and like my beliefs, but
Yeah.
this part I don't talk about with people unless they ask. And my husband was sitting in a hot tub with this older couple and started telling them that everybody in Hollywood was trans and about the fallen angels and demons, and they were just like, I was like, you have to read the room. Like, you can't. And they were just like, oh. I was like, you're scaring them. Stop. I was like, they're not ready. And then I had to explain it. And they, like, it kind of got them thinking, which was good. But the way that he was saying it, I was just like, you got to read the room first. You can't just go into that. But he was just so excited.
Yeah, I get that way too, especially when I get fed like a new piece of information. I'm just like, fun, I gotta tell the whole world, like everybody listen to me,
Yeah.
and I get my little soapbox out and I'm just like, everybody.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, that's what
so
the platforms are good for. Like, this is my little space of the internet that I can share like things and people know what I'm talking about. And so it's
yeah,
like, maybe this is not good, but it's like highly frustrating when people come to my page and they don't have like the basic knowledge of what it is. So then they comment like something ignorant, and it's like, just like go look at my page for a minute before you start commenting stuff. Like, I'm shaped like a man and I've had 4 kids. No, you don't. No, you haven't. Like, if you are a biological female, you don't have this bone structure. I'm not talking, and it's just like so annoying to repeat that over and over and over and over. It's like, go
like
get
it's funny because even like female bodybuilders, although they're big and bulky, they still have
yes.
that feminine structure to them.
Yeah, their skulls are going to be female. The hip to shoulder ratio. It's even if it's like smaller and more narrow, it's still going to be that same bone structure. Like it doesn't matter what the outside looks like. It's literally the frame. If you take all the skin off everything, like you have to be able to look at that part to to see,
Yeah.
which
And
is kind
now,
of, but
yeah, do you get like with these videos that you talk, because you get into some like serious stuff, and do you get a lot of hate like in the comments or whatever?
I had this little feature that I really loved called the restrict feature. If
Uh-huh.
somebody's being rude to me, they comment, I say something back, they're restricted. They don't get to comment back unless I approve it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I don't play that game because people just come to argue, and it's like, you can say what
Yeah,
you say, I'm going to shut this down, and you're not going to have a voice on my page again.
right. That's good. That's nice. That's good.
Because then that kind of
Um,
goes back and forth.
yeah, I was just talking to somebody about like hate, and I was like, I haven't gotten any since I started the podcast, but
Well,
because
that's what,
I get into conspiracies a lot, and I talk about flat Earth quite a bit. Not that I 100% believe it, but like it's the most like captivating conspiracy to me,
right,
like because if it is, there are so many other things that they have to also lie about in order to keep us believing that it's round.
right.
Um, so like that's the most intriguing to me. And I was just I think it was my buddy Tommy. We were talking about it, and I was like, well, maybe it's just because I'm not popular enough. Maybe people don't know who I am enough to like give me hate. Maybe because I don't have hate, I haven't made it yet. Or something. But we were laughing about it last night. Yeah, it was literally last night. But so I know because Jillian. I know Jillian gets some of it.
Oh, yeah.
I've actually read some of it, and which is gnarly. But she also had somebody pretend to be her
Oh,
and like making money off of her a lot, like off of her name, I guess,
I remember
which
that.
is also kind of fucked up. And like all of this, like with all this stuff, like, because I talk about, like I said earlier, I talk about ghosts and cryptids and stuff like that too. And out of everything, all demons and stuff, like humans scare me the most, like,
Really?
because they do like fucked up shit. And well, I guess it would be like demon, like like they could be like, I don't know how to explain
Okay.
that part.
I think I understand what you're saying. Like you
Like a
think
demon
influence,
overtaking.
yeah, like demons manifesting. I mean, that's
Yeah.
absolutely like, yeah, I get that. Humans are
Yeah.
a vessel that can be used for good or bad.
Exactly. Exactly. Like a negative soul just happened to be put inside this person,
Um,
from birth or something, it's hard. It's hard for me to trust too. I have a hard time trusting new people. And I'm like one of those people that will just like be quiet around new people until like I get to know them, until I like hear them talk enough.
yeah.
And sometimes, you know, early on within the first day or the first time, first 20 minutes, first 10 minutes, I'm just like, nope, you know?
I need to be more like that. I just like talk normally and then I get close to people and then they end up being a little bit crazy. But because, yeah, well, dependent on business. If I'm talking to somebody, I can tell if they have like negative mindset and are going to do well right off the bat. But friendship, well, I can kind of discern between that now. Like if it's somebody who's just like, I don't know, you can tell when somebody's like negative or like if they say something that's a little bit off, like you
Hmm.
can discern, like, did you catch that? Like, I don't think I want to hang around. Yeah, I know what you're saying. That makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah. And I've been that way for a long ass time, and I don't know why. Like people think that I'm fucking like I'm angry all the time. I mean, I used to be when I was younger for sure, but like now people, I guess, because me and my dad work together, and he was just literally telling me the other day because like I'll just look at somebody, not like with any like mood or anything, kind of in my head or anything. I just happen to look at them and I guess they will. A couple of them have called or texted my dad asking him if I was mad at them, and they were afraid that they did something to piss me off or something. I was like, no, just fucking. Sometimes I don't even know that I'm looking at somebody, which is fucking even more hilarious. But
You, you,
um,
you might have the gift of discernment because, like, okay, I can discern when there's like something off spiritually on somebody, like what you're
mm,
saying, good or bad. Like I can discern
mm,
like that's something is off right there. That's not right. They're like demonically influenced or something. Like I can discern that. Some people can see it physically. I can't see things physically, I don't think, but I can tell spiritually, like something in my soul knows when something is wrong. And so, but that's not something that everybody has. But yeah, it's a gift of discernment that people can use, to further the kingdom. Once you're able to see, like once you read scripture and you're like, oh, that's how I feel, and it's like, yeah, that's like an actual gift. You can either use it for good or you can use it for your own. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, you might have the gift of discernment.
that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Now I feel lucky.
yeah, you should because not everybody can tell stuff right off the bat.
Um, I did want to ask you too, though, about the the your thoughts around like Lucifer and Satan, because from what I've been told now is that there actually isn't any reference in scripture to Lucifer as a being or something, or Satan. I can't remember. Um, so I wanted to like, what's what do you think is connecting Lucifer to Satan in everybody's mind if scripture isn't doing that?
I feel like I've heard maybe Jillian or JT speak on like them being two different beings or something like that. I actually have not gone that deep to
Oh,
see
okay.
the difference, but I do know that there's an adversary. And so I base everything off of like the enemy. I call him the enemy. So like
Hmm.
there's not a name, I mean like Lucifer, Satan, whatever, but like the enemy, this is the work of the enemy. This is the work of the opposer. This is the work of not God, the opposite of him. This is evil. So it's like I haven't gone through the rabbit, or not the rabbit hole. I haven't gone into the dissection of like specific people or beings or entities of like the difference. I just know
Yep.
anything in that realm is of the enemy, of the opposer, of the adversary. Does that make sense?
Yes, that makes 100%
I probably
sense.
should though. I probably should. I just say the enemy, the adversary, uh, the opposite of what is good, the opposite of truth, chaos.
Yeah.
That I haven't thought about. I mean, yes, maybe a specific being or person, but I haven't really looked that deep into that. But that's probably something that I will go down. I just
Yeah, I think I'm gonna bring that back because I think Jillian said something about it when I had her on a while ago. So when I have her back on, I might ask that question to her again.
she
Um,
she was on, or I think I saw her video. I don't know if you know who JT follows JC is, but
yeah, I do.
I don't know if he made a video about it too, but my kids love him. Literally love him. They say, "Can we please watch JT? Can you message JT? Can you say hi to JT? Can you work with JT?" Like they are like
That's awesome.
obsessed with him and his videos. They are obsessed. They go around telling people about the Nephilim, about, uh like stuff being false gods. Like my son saw a Liberty Mutual commercial and he said, "That's a false god. Why is there a false god up there?" And like we were at an art show or something and there was like this portal or something, and the person who was like showing us everything said, "Do you guys know what this is?" And he goes, "Yeah, that's a portal to another dimension." And she was like, "What?" Because it's like all these little kids and it's like
Yeah.
he knows truth. He'll be like, "Mom, that person's a man." And I'm like, he knows.
That's funny. How old is he?
I have a 7-year old, a 5-year old, and a 2-year old. But
Oh, nice.
my middle one knows about the Nephilim. He talks about the Nephilim all the time to people. My oldest one knows about false gods and stuff. I feel like they're pretty, I don't know, educated on truth. Like I don't try to hide stuff from them. I just like
Yeah.
they know space isn't real. Like they know they're like Santa's not real. Like they're like, why are people doing this? And I'm like, they just don't know yet.
Yeah.
They don't know yet.
Yeah. Um, I don't, I try to explain things to my kids too, the best way that I personally can, but a lot of times I have to like show them a video of somebody talking because like in my head, I get jumbled up a lot really easily.
Yeah.
So like I have to have somebody else explain some things to them, but my daughter is definitely she's way more open than my son is, I think.
How
My son's older. My son's 15 and my daughter is 12. My daughter will be fucking 13 in April.
hold on. You have teenage children?
Yeah.
I thought you were in like how old are you? I thought
I'm
you were like
I'm
maybe
35.
what? Okay. Anyways, continue. I thought that you maybe around my age and had little kids. Okay, your kids are older. Okay.
Yeah. Um But my daughter like literally goes to school and talks to her friends about conspiracies. They were talking about uh, well, the last time that I knew of her having these conversations with her friends at school was she had told me that they talk about simulation theory and that everybody died in 2012 and that
Oh,
we're all just living in some kind of simulation. And I was like, well, I mean, after 2012, a lot of things got fucking really weird. I will admit to that. And she was born before 2012. She was born in 2011. So
yeah.
like that could be the another reason that she is like of this mind. If this happens to be a simulation, that could be why she is more open to a lot of this. But um
What
yeah, no,
about
I don't
yourself?
I don't lie to them about anything. I tell them like stuff, and she loves Taylor Swift, and I'm just like, you should really like not listen to that. But
Well,
like I can't make her not listen to it.
that my kids love Pokemon cards, and it's like I haven't like really looked into that, but I'm sure there's I don't know. And in movies and stuff, like they'll say Disney, they'll be like, "There's magic in that movie," and then my oldest son will be like, "That's not good." And I was like, "Well, are you gonna watch it?" And he's like, "No, I don't want to watch it." Like I let them choose what they want to do, like based
Yeah.
on I mean, like they're kids, they're under my care. Like I'm not going to show them like inappropriate stuff, but like if there's a movie on and they see something, like what happened the other day? They were watching something on TV, and it was like, oh, Megamind. They were watching Megamind, and Megamind started walking on water, and he goes, "Why is he walking on water, trying to be like Jesus?" And I was like, "Exactly." And so it's like they catch stuff like that. And I was like, Megamind is like a false god. Like he's like a demigod. He has human and angelic powers. Like, and they
Mhm.
see stuff like that and they catch it and they're like, I don't want to watch this. Like they can discern that. That makes me happy.
That's good. That's good. Because it's all it lives in everything. And we were talking about like music having like spells and stuff. Have you watched Leave the World Behind?
No, what is that?
So it's a movie about America being like war coming to America on American soil essentially, but you can't tell like what's happening. Like it's just like all this weird shit's happening. So the grid technically goes down, and it's Julia Roberts, Ethan Hawke, and then a couple other actors that I don't remember their names. Um, but yeah, they're trying to survive it, and at one point there's this really loud pitched noise, and it goes off twice in two different times. The first time I was just like, oh, that sucks, and like and they're all reacting to it and stuff, and I'm listening to it, and it didn't bother me. And then the second time, like I literally physically was bothered by the noise. I started sweating and got really uncomfortable, and I was just like, I don't like this. And I was like, almost, I was about to grab the remote to like fucking lower the volume, and then the noise stopped.
That's
And I was just
weird.
like, that's weird, because I know they have like sound weapons and stuff like that for like infrasound and stuff like that. I mean, we know animals have infrasound, so they can anything natural. They with the crap that they do, they they try to replicate everything without be using like the actual vessel. You know what I'm saying?
Right? That,
Which
yes.
which is really weird, because and they're synthesizing meat right now. Like they're putting out meat that didn't actually come from an animal. And
Ugh,
I'm just like, what the fuck is that?
not something I'm eating.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Um and then they're fucking with genetics for the woolly mammoth to come back in 2027. Did you hear about that?
No, but that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, yeah, it's crazy. And I'm like, oh man. So they're like splicing the genes from a gray elephant and the DNA that they found in the permafrost in Alaska. So I'm just like, what the fuck? But
Humans have been trying to play God since the beginning of time, and it's
oh
like,
yeah. Oh yeah.
is
It's giving me Jurassic Park vibes, and I think that was, obviously when we go into symbolism and stuff, and then getting our consent without us knowing that we're giving our consent, like Jurassic Park is a good segue to that. That there's symbolism in all of those movies.
yes. I need to go back and watch those because since my son loved Jurassic World, but I don't think I've really looked into it since I've been like awake. I need to go watch them and see.
Yeah,
I'm sure the
yeah.
kids,
Since so 2020 really is what fucking with the thing that don't won't fucking go away. That's really what got me on this path.
yes,
Um, because and I don't mind saying it. I say it all the time. I'm anti-vax. So like with 2020, I was just like, there's something weird here. When somebody's like, you want to you want a delicious cheeseburger for free? You want some fries? You can get this. You can get that. Fucking stuff in your face in front of the camera to fucking get people to go get it. That's when it gets really weird. And I'm just like, that's strange. I already don't want it anyway, but that's even fucking weirder to me.
you know why?
Um,
Because your gift of discernment.
yeah, well, I didn't think of it in that way, but now I might think I'm specialer. Uh, I'm just kidding. But yeah, no, and I forget where the frick I was going with this now, but um, it's just it this there's Yeah, okay. I was talking about how 2020 revamped like
Yeah.
my whole like awakenness, and like I went through a really bad breakup in 2022. So like I also was like trying to find myself. So I did like this whole spiritual journey and stuff like this, and my eyes became open, and all these movies and stuff like I'll watch them and I'll literally be sitting there and I'll be like, I don't consent to that.
Yeah.
And then like even my kids are like, what the fuck? And then I think what the one movie that I thought was really good, especially being made in 2023, um, that didn't really have any kind of like real symbolism in it, was the Mario Brothers movie. You know
Oh yeah. Yeah, that was a
that
good.
was yeah. I mean, other than like a different dimension, like going to another world, like there wasn't a whole lot in there. They didn't change anybody's race. They didn't change anything. I mean, they put the power dynamic into to Princess Peach, where she didn't need no man, um
Yeah,
but yeah, no, it was still like I still felt like it was, it was pretty good other than that. And that's another thing too, is that they've been working so hard to destroy the nuclear family, and it's fucking working.
well, same with the awakening in 2020. I first, okay, there's been like series of awakening in my life. I know we only have 15 minutes, so I'm gonna make it quick. But the
Yeah.
first time was when I first got married. I was 19, and I don't know if you know this, but like the porn industry, like, is one of the biggest industries in the world. It's there, that's human trafficking, and I didn't realize how prevalent it was in society until I found out that my husband was struggling with it, and then that almost like ruined our marriage. But I'm a really stubborn person, so I was like, we're not doing that. It's not happening. We're not doing this. And so my husband, we got really involved in our church, and he like rewired his brain. Like, we got rid of all technology, all movies. He got rid of his smartphone, got a flip phone for like, I don't know, like 3 years. We were like this while he was resetting his brain. And then he got really involved in church and started seeing people as people instead of objects. And so I realized Satan's attack on the family unit then.
Hmm.
Then we had our son and the whole vaccine thing. I realized they're trying to poison us, all this stuff then. Then the 2020, and I realized the extent of the child trafficking and involvement in like elites or so-called elites and stuff like that. And then I went down the trans thing, and then I'm now on like the rabbit hole of like fallen angels, Nephilim, biblical ties to everything. So that's like all of the awakenings. But I, so what you were saying too with like not consenting to movies and stuff, a lot of times the way that like demons enter is through like trauma. And there's a lot of trauma in movies. Like, there's a lot of death. There's a lot of like, heartbreak, people's parents dying, all that stuff. That's ways that they can enter. And then there was something else. Oh, when you go to the movies, who is it? Nicole Kidman comes on the screen and she's like, "We take you to a magical place where blah, blah, blah," and says like something really creepy at the theaters. And I'm like, that's weird. They're telling you exactly what they're doing. Like, if you go and Google like AMC, Nicole Kidman or whatever, it says, "We take you to a place that you is not, or is out of reality, to where everything is magical and makes you feel things." And I'm like, that's weird.
That is
So
weird.
it's very weird. So I don't know, when you haven't, I went to go see it so we saw the Wonka movie. My kids, I took my kids on like a little date. I have two
Hmm.
sons, and I was like, "Do you want to go eat somewhere?" And so we went to eat, and they're like, "Mom, can we go watch a movie?" And I'm like, "Sure." I was like, "What do you want to go see?" And they wanted to go see the new Wonka. So I was like, "Sure." And so we invited our neighbor because her son is my son's best friend, and we had like a little mom movie date, whatever.
Hmm.
And that movie was very endearing, and it makes you feel like all happy and like you like the characters and stuff. But because I could discern that, I was like, I see how they get people to idolize these people, because the storyline, it takes you to a place that like seems not like reality. It's like magical, it's fun. And I was like, it's literally happening right now. But it had loads of symbolism in it, like Catholicism, like corrupt priests, like selling your soul for stuff. And it was just like, that's so bizarre. But I saw it with a friend that was awake, and we were looking at each other like, that's symbolism. And then I saw it with one of my friends who wasn't awake. And when I told her the Nicole Kidman thing at the beginning, she was like, I was like, that's creepy. And she was just like, oh, they're just trying to sell people tickets. And I'm like, okay, she doesn't see it. Like, she doesn't have the eyes. Like, there's a difference in people that, like my friend that was like, oh my gosh, yes. And then she was just like, doesn't see it. But I love the movie.
Yeah. I mean, I still have a lot of love for the people that, don't see it, and they don't share the same opinions as me. You know what I mean? I'm not like, when I get onto the these conspiracy things, with symbolism and whatnot, like literally people will get angry at me, and I'm not like, just because you don't believe the same way that I believe, I'm not going to get angry at you. But when I'm telling you what I believe, like, why are you getting angry at me? You know what
Right.
I mean? It's really weird.
Right.
And you see that right now with like left, right, blue, red, there's a big divide. Like, you literally you can't put one person from one side and one person from the other side. You can't put them in a room for a discussion, because it'll end up getting heated.
Right.
And I feel like that's ridiculous. You can have differing opinions and still find common ground somewhere. And
Right.
I always say, we've been pushed to like celebrate everybody for being different. And don't get me wrong, we are all different in our own ways, but we also are a lot alike. And I think we need to start celebrating that more than us being different. And it's
Right.
just like, when it comes to race, religion, and stuff like that. Like, I don't know. It's just, I think there's a way forward, and I just don't think many people are seeing it.
Yes. You know what I've noticed too? Like what you're saying. So I'm very strong in my beliefs, and like I don't waver. And if somebody comes to me, I'm going to hold my boundary of like, this is my belief. This is what I believe is correct.
Mhm.
But I don't go and do that on other people's page. So if I see somebody that like has an opposing view, I'm not going to go in their comment section and be like, you're blah, 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 I don't agree with you. But like, for what reason? Like, if they wanted to have a discussion, they would come to me in my inbox and they would be like asking me my opinion, and then I would be asking them theirs. But a lot of people don't do that. They like comment like on the attack, and they're like, you need to blah blah blah, and I immediately am like, that's not correct, I'm not doing this, because it shut like there. I can discernment, I can tell people's intention. Is somebody today came in my inbox and they said, you have really pretty hair, you should put mayonnaise on it so that it doesn't look all damaged and fried. And I sent her a meme and I said, I'm looking for where I asked for your opinion, with like little granny glasses. And she was like, I'm just a girl giving you advice. And I'm like, I didn't ask for your advice. Like, you're being passive aggressive. Like, you're not being nice. Like, I can tell if somebody is genuinely curious, if they're like, hey, I've had 5 kids, I feel like I look like this, maybe not, can you show me? That's different than somebody saying, I've had 5 kids, you're not always right, blah, blah, blah. One is argumentative, I'm not doing that. The other one genuinely wants to learn. I will have a conversation with somebody who wants to learn. I will not have a conversation with somebody who's dead set on arguing, because it's taking time away from my children, and I'm not going to waste it on them. I'm going to say your stuff, I'll say mine, and then you're restricted. You don't get to say something else unless I approve it. You're done.
Yeah.
You're done
Yeah.
here.
Absolutely. I like that mindset. That's a phenomenal way to be. And especially at a young age, not that I'm not saying like you're a child or anything like that. I'm just saying, like, when I was 28, man, it was really easy to get me fucking riled up.
I mean,
So,
I'm pretty scrappy. Like, I don't like, some people see my personality as aggressive. I don't think
mhm.
I'm aggressive. I think I'm just like, somebody told me today, they said the way that your brain works is like a guy, because it's just like matter of fact and to the point. I
Yeah.
don't get emotional and stuff. Like, if you like say something and like, okay, for instance, in my business, if somebody reaches out to me And then I'm like, okay, are you wanting my help or no? They won't just tell me no. They'll be like, I don't know. I might can get back to you. It's like just yes or no. Like just boom. Because it's like, I don't like people like to add words and fluff where I'm just like, yes or no. And it's not being mean. It's just like, I don't want to waste time. Like it's either this or it's that. If it's this, no hard feelings. If it's that, we're just going to move on. Like it doesn't mean anything. And
Yeah.
what's really weird is I'm only like that on social media and my business, but like in my household, my husband makes all the decisions. I'm just there to follow. It's just on this that I'm like, boom. I don't know why, but
Yeah.
I don't think that my brain operates the way that most women do. Like my husband, okay, if I'm upset, he'll be like, he doesn't have to guess. Like I'm not like passive aggressive and like he doesn't know. Like if I'm upset, I'm gonna be like, you pissed me off because of this, this, and this. Stop doing it. And like we just move on.
Yeah.
Unless it continues and then it's like, this is my boundary. If you continue, you gotta go. It's just like but I'm not like pouting in a corner, like him trying to figure out like what is wrong. Like you're gonna know what's wrong, and we're gonna like fix it and move on.
That's the way everybody should be. That's the way every relationship should be, really. Like, if you're upset or if you're happy, or whatever emotion you're feeling, you should be telling your partner. That way they can share how they're feeling, and you guys can, evolve together. Like, I feel like that makes the bond so much stronger the more you talk about like how you're feeling, no matter what the emotion is. So, like, and especially if something is upsetting you, that is when you really should be having a discussion,
Yeah, it's hard in
without yelling,
yes,
preferably.
I yell sometimes, but it goes in friendships as well too, because
Oh
like
yeah.
friendships with girls are hard because of that. Like
Mm.
you can't just like that's why Jillian is so awesome. Like Jillian's, I feel like similar to that. Just like this
Yeah,
is what.
she's straight to the point.
Yeah, I think that's why we get along because there's not like skirting around stuff. It's just like I'm busy. You know what I'm saying? It's just
Yeah.
easy. It's not hard to communicate. I like good communicators. I like people to just keep their word and just mean what they say and say what they mean and not have bad intentions behind it to hurt me. Just tell me how you feel so we can do something about it.
Yeah, that's how I feel with dating. Um, I get like so turned off like really quickly from certain people, and I'm just like, oh, I really like you, and then they like do something weird, and I'm like, I feel like that's wasteful. I'm done. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's really hard, especially ever since I went through this spiritual journey. I'm having a more of a harder time, letting myself back into you know somebody else's care, I guess, in a way. Like, I'm keeping myself guarded. I'm just like standing there kind of like this, you know what I mean?
Well, you should invent like a dating website for people that are awake or something so that
Yeah.
there's like common ground because that relationships are hard. I can't imagine dating right now with like, I mean, I dated when there was internet, but like to this extent, like, and just at this point in your life, like, I would not have time for BS and drama and people not communicate. Like, I would not do that. I mean, I guess I would have to if something happened to my husband. And actually, I probably wouldn't even do that. We talk about that a lot. It's like, because I'm like chronically ill and like I'm having a lot of health issues. And I was like, would you like, if you date somebody, like, I don't think you're going to deal with them because they're going to like get on your nerves because they're not just going to be straight to the point and play these games and you're going to be done. But, that and is a challenge already, but on top of not having aligning views could be, I can't imagine how challenging that could be too.
Yeah, absolutely. But I know that you got to go, so if you don't mind just shouting out, letting everybody know where they can find you in your videos, and then I would love to have you on again for a further discussion.
Yeah, of course. I really appreciate you having me, Kevin. You can find me at humbly_awake_ on Instagram. And then, yeah, I can come back.
All Perfect. We'll set something up and we'll get a little bit deeper and hopefully maybe have a little bit more time next time.
Yeah.
Just in case side tangents, you know.
Yes. Yes. I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Now that is the show, everybody. You know all the links that you need to follow, but like, follow, share, subscribe. That's the best way to help this show grow. Leave a rating or review. I would greatly appreciate it. And go check Humbly Awake out. I would appreciate that too. She's got some good knowledge up there. I've been watching a lot of her videos, so go check her out.
Thank
Other
you.
than that, question everything and stay weird.
This concludes our broadcast day. Click.
Because in the end, none of us have very long on this earth. Life is fleeting. And if you're ever distressed, cast your eyes to the summer sky, when the stars are strung across the velvety night, and when a shooting star streaks through the blackness, turning night into day. Make a wish.